Our bill, the Take It Down Act, finally is sending a very big message to big tech that they have to bring down these images, fake images, within 48 hours. No more time than that, no more excuses. If not, big tech then will be just as guilty as the aggressors.
The big online video convention that happens here in the UK, I went to a panel called Bullying and Harassment on YouTube. It featured Rowley West, Chandler Wilson, Rowan Ellis, Ellen Rose and my good friend Stephen Bridges, and was chaired by a representative from the UK charity Childline. I think the way we talk about bullying and harassment on YouTube is a little limited. That panel was really good and the panelists had a lot of interesting things to say, but it focused a lot on how can YouTubers respond to bullying harassment. And I think that perspective a little bit too much treats those behaviours as inevitable. In her book The Cultural Politics of Emotion, the philosopher Sarah Ahmed talks about pain and warns that fetishizing pain, turning pain into an object, can sometimes obscure the processes and the people that cause that pain to come about. By fetishizing pain, she means making an idol of it, treating it as a standalone thing, not any kind of fetish. And I think that if we're not careful, we run the risk of fetishizing the pain of bullying and harassment online, treating it as a given, as a standalone thing, rather than a product, almost, that people are spending time and energy making and that they shouldn't be. I use the word product advisedly, in fact, because bullying and harassment on YouTube, it's possible to make a career out of that. You can make a pretty decent living spreading misery on YouTube for sport, and you can make money for Google while you're doing it.
A few moments later.
Our bill, the Take It Down Act, finally is sending a very big message to big tech that they have to bring down these images, fake images, within 48 hours. No more time than that, no more excuses. If not, big tech then will be just as guilty as the aggressors.
A few moments later.
Look, I'm just going to say very briefly, state the obvious. As the dark side of technology advances, and these unspeakable evils become part of the culture, the law has to keep up. And I'm really grateful that we have thoughtful legislators here who take the reins on this and are willing to pass legislation to address it. We are anxious to put it on the floor in the House, to get it to President Trump's desk for signature, because we've got to do what we can to stop this. And I am a full supporter of it. I'm grateful to have a moment to be with you all. You'll bet.
Yeah. On that panel I mentioned, Rowan said that YouTube needs to figure out whether it's going to just be a platform and allow anybody to use it for any reason, or whether they are going to stand for something and be a little bit more discerning in how they allow it to be used. And I think that's quite right. That doesn't fetishize bullying and harassment. It challenges Google to confront the people responsible. A more ideal solution than fetishization, I think, would be to confront the people who are perpetrating this kind of behaviour and let them know that it needs to stop. That's why I really enjoyed this video from Emily Eaton, who talks about bullying and harassment on YouTube not as a feature of the platform, but as an abuse of the platform. Although I think that tools that creators get, like mute buttons and block buttons, are really good, I don't think those are just on their own the solution. The writer Evgeny Morozov talks about the tendency that we, people who work in tech fields, have to think that the solution to any problem is just like more technology, just chuck more technology at it. And I'm reminded of a phrase that Microsoft's Vice President of Research, Peter Lee, said when Microsoft made that Twitter bot, the automated Twitter bot that just tweeted out a whole bunch of abuse. You remember that? After that happened, he released a statement and he said, "The challenges are just as much social as they are technical," which is, well, yeah, it's spot on. The tendency to abuse people online is sometimes chalked up to the internet's ability to facilitate anonymity, and I'm not sure if I totally buy into that. I think certainly there is something disinhibitory about the internet, whether that's the speed and the immediacy of it, or whether that's the fact that it's often text-based rather than face-to-face, I don't know. I will say that the worst harasser I ever had actually used his real name, and was not altogether strident in covering up his tracks either. In fact, I did some pretty quick Google foo and found out that they were a 42-year-old part-time financial consultant living in Boston who writes Dracula fan fiction and enjoys long-distance running. So I don't know if it's necessarily an anonymity thing. Whereas in his book Angry White Men, Michael Kimmel talks about entitlement being at the root of a lot of male domestic violence. He used to run sessions for men who had beaten their partners, and he talks about an incident where one guy said that he just lost control and beat his wife while she was chopping vegetables. And this idea of losing control was a common thread, he said. And Michael Kimmel asked this guy, he said, well, why didn't you just stab her then? If she had the knife and you were really angry at her and you lost control, why didn't you stab her? And the guy was horrified. He said, no, I would never do that. You know, I was just angry at her. I just hit her. I would never stab my wife. I love her very much. And Kimmel says, well, then you were in control because you chose one form of violence rather than the other. It's not about you losing control. It's about you felt angry and you felt entitled to use that specific form of violence, but not another one. And he says that this was a real breakthrough in that guy's understanding of what he'd done. And that idea of entitlement being at the root of a lot of shitty behaviour is one that I find quite explanatory. I think one way of tackling entitlement that people might feel to bully and harass on YouTube is to ensure that it does have consequences, and that might mean muting, it might mean blocking. If you are a creator engaging in it, then that might mean you don't get invited to events and so on. At its mildest, it might mean people calling you out. Rowan, again, on the panel, suggested that sometimes in extreme cases we could get the police involved. And yeah, I guess that's for the people involved to decide. Some of the stories coming out of Gamergate were that the police weren't really tech savvy enough to understand what was going on, but I wouldn't know. I've never tried to get them involved in that sort of thing. Those are steps that don't fetishize the pain, but actually directly confront the labor that produces it. And those sorts of avenues are the ones that I'm more interested in exploring when we talk about bullying and harassment on YouTube.
Snapchat, Instagram, TikTok will have to comply within 48 hours when the victim demands that they take down those pornographic images. Now our messages to the bullies, to the perverts, to the predators. If you dare to do this to another innocent child, you are going to go to prison. You will serve jail time. That will be a great place where you can sit and ponder what you did and be consumed by your conscience. Up until now, the parents of victims found that the schools, they couldn't do anything. The police couldn't do anything. Nothing. Big tech couldn't do anything, according to them. No more. This legislation has taken the power away from the aggressors and the accomplices and have given it back to the victims and their parents.
Look, I'm just going to say very briefly, state the obvious. As the dark side of technology advances, and these unspeakable evils become part of the culture, the law has to keep up. And I'm really grateful that we have thoughtful legislators here who take the reins on this and are willing to pass legislation to address it. We are anxious to put it on the floor in the House, to get it to President Trump's desk for signature, because we've got to do what we can to stop this. And I am a full supporter of it. I'm grateful to have a moment to be with you all. Yield back.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I appreciate your being here, and I appreciate your leadership getting this passed into law so that we can protect these victims and prevent further victims.
A few moments later.
All right, guys, we're here at the Hilton.
Yes.
We're in West Palm Beach. Getting ready to go to this Mar-a-Lago event. We're a little trying to figure out the details a little bit about when the shuttle's going and everything else like that. So we're going in the hotel to inquire. We'll see what happens. You guys can see I got a suit on. I haven't had a suit on in years. I feel like I'm working for the government again.
Guys, you want freedom, man? You want true success? Live the dream. But it starts here, then here. Let's go.
Like my 10th Instagram account.
He saw the subs over a
Keep
million.
getting banned, bro.
He was like, oh, shit.
Annoying, man. Zuckerberg, bitch ass. Type in MY. Okay, let's see how shadow banned I am. Let's see. Or.
Oh, N? Oh, here it is.
Oh, I did come up, yeah.
See, you're talking Zuckerberg, he give you a chance, man.
Nah, man, I was like fourth in there. Fourth or fifth.
You're fourth or fifth. Listen, Zuckerberg, shout out to you, man.
Hey, man, we still don't trust you, bro.
Yeah, kind of, you know what I'm saying?
I still don't trust you, guys.
This is your first time on Mar-a-Lago?
Yeah, first time. Never been here before. But I will tell you this, it reminds me when I was on the job and I used to work over at DHS. So, brings back some memories.
I feel like I shouldn't be here, bro. But I'm here, you know? I came from the hood to the you know, for the project.
Came from the island.
Over here to the prosperity. Man, insane. All right, guys, so we're at Mar-a-Lago. I don't know how you got in here, but we made it. And we're past security. We're inside right now. We're going to walk around, some networking, and Mine's gonna do this thing for politics. Right?
Yeah, well, I was going to say, how did you get in here? Because actually, you used to have a clearance. How the hell did you get in?
So these guys are going to be, you're going to learn about them. These are the heaviest hitting patriots, active duty, highest rank that pushed back against COVID,
The jab.
the jab, the Afghan pullout, and then DEI CRT
Good.
in the military.
Good.
This is proof in the pudding. The independent media
Yeah, it's
is
taking over.
taking over.
It's taking over, dude. You know,
Full
and,
stop.
And hopefully they stop with the and censorship on YouTube and all these main platforms. Because again, annoying.
They'll
you know
just go bankrupt if they continue it, because no one's going to go there.
Yeah. Well, Rumble's already
Chris
getting
is
like
gonna-
all the top guys on Rumble.
Yeah.
So
Rumble's the best.
Rumble is definitely
Yep,
taking
number
over.
one. Chris
Especially,
has
well,
been killing it.
here's the thing: when it comes to conservative media, Rumble beats YouTube
Everybody.
all day. They get more views than them. Like everything with the election,
Rumble beats.
with the inauguration.
There's less
Yeah, beats
censorship
X, beats-
on Rumble,
yeah.
Censorship on Rumble. than there
Rumble
is
has
on
a real
Yeah.
engagement. Real engagement.
Yeah.
So this is my logo.